Hi, I'm Sam. I'm an artist, graphic designer and illustrator from Leicester, England. I like traveling, creating, cooking, going to the game, jumping in the water and stuffing my face. In early 2023, I decided to put all my stuff into storage, sell my car and go traveling, embracing life as a digital nomad, flying around the world and working remotely in other countries. So far, it's been a blast. I've been making memories, exploring different cultures and embracing different ways of life. I've made a bunch of new friends, had a bunch of visitors from back home come out to stay with me, tried local cuisines, fell into tourist traps and had way too much sunshine. Some of my favourite days since I've been away are the days where I put the iPad in a bag, gone for a wander until I found somewhere to post up, enjoying the scenery and drawing something. So I want to bring you with me as I document my journey and try to adjust to life on the move, finding inspiration and living my dream of working and travelling, drawing and exploring. What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Drawing and Exploring with me, Sam Grubb. Today I'm in Puebla in Mexico. So Puebla is about 20 minutes away from where I've been living whilst I've been here. And it's the fourth biggest city in Mexico. There's 1.7 million people live in Puebla city. In the wide metropolitan area, there's 3.2 million people. And I've not spent as much time here as I would have wanted over the last couple of months, just because, I don't know, throughout the week I'm working at home in Cholula, which is about 20 minutes away. Cholula, funnily enough, same name as the Mexican hot sauce, but I found out that that's made in Puebla or something like that, not in Cholula. But anyway, yeah, in Puebla today. Puebla is, it was established in 1531 as a city, originally called Puebla de Los Angeles. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of the architecture here. There's loads of beautiful churches and sort of cathedrals. It's got the biggest cathedral in Mexico. It's strategically placed. It was built to be halfway between the port of Veracruz and Mexico City. And it's a Magico. So the first day when I got to Mexico, my Uber driver that dropped me at the place I'm staying, she was telling me about these magic cities and Magicos. And it's kind of like the cities that preserve some of the original Mexican culture. And Puebla is one of those. So right now I'm on top of the hill. I'm at Fuerte De Loreto, which is one of two forts that was, I'll talk about it in a moment, just because I need to check and read my notes. But one of two ports that was protected successfully during the Battle of Cinco de Mayo, 5th of May. And what's really cool about Puebla is that they celebrate the 5th of May here, whereas I'm reading and I'm finding out from some locals, a lot of what we as, Westerners, Europeans, Americans, whatever, think of the 5th of May as it's a bit like St. Patrick's Day, the way it's just been taken on and turned into something. I don't think they really celebrate it too much in Mexico, certainly not as much as Mexican Independence Day, which is the 16th of September. But here in Puebla, because of the battle and because of the forts and how they were protected, it's part of the city's tapestry. So they celebrate Cinco de Mayo here. And obviously with it being a Magico, that plays into it, looking at all the different cultural elements and combining those. So yeah, it should be really cool. Today, same as ever, I'm going to find somewhere to have a little draw. I'll talk about what I'm drawing later, but for now, I just want to have a quick look around the fort. It looks pretty cool. And then I'm going to speak a little bit more about how it was protected in Cinco de Mayo and that sort of thing. Okay, so a little Puebla history around Cinco de Mayo. The Battle of Puebla took place in 1862 on the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo. It lasted a day. The Mexicans defeated the Second French Empire and they were led by General Ignacio Zaragoza. And once the Battle of Puebla was won, he put his feet up and he thought, you know what, I'm done with this Los Angeles stuff. I'm going to rename the city. So to give the city its full title, it's Pueblo de Zaragoza now. So I think that's pretty cool, just naming a city after yourself. But yeah, we checked out the fort for the Fuerte. Now I've got to find somewhere to pull up and do the drawing. So what I'm working on today, it's a bit of client work today. Client Rachel, she's good people. I've done a few projects for her. The first project was I did a mural, black and white mural in her son's bedroom. on over 2 walls, and it was funny. I think he must have been about 7 or 8 years old. So a bunch of different things that he wanted in the mural went in there. Then next, she project managed a renovation at this big community centre. I think it's in Bilston, near Nottingham, not too far from where I live back in the UK. And they had a big bespoke climbing wall in the back room that was just used as a storage room. So she said, come, let's give it a fresh lick of paint and spruce it up. So that was fun. It was dicey. I was up this climbing wall just hanging off with one hand spray painting and stuff, but it was good fun. Today, another project that she's project managing. So there's a book room in a school near Nottingham, near where she lives. And I've been consulting with her and some people at the school for about a month, going back and forth over the sketch. The theme is like the magic of reading, and there's a big sort of book tree in the middle of the illustration, and trees and magic and stuff coming off it. So good news is they signed off on the sketch. So my plan now is to go find somewhere to get the iPad out and get to work on it. Okay, so I ended up just sitting down pretty much where I was. I went to the Zocalo. I like the Zocalo. I read about it before I went to Mexico. It's just like a little square with some music and people around and whatever. So I pulled up there. The place I went to was the Italian coffee shop, and it's like a Starbucks in Mexico. They're just absolutely everywhere. I think there's 3 or 4 of them around this square. So yeah, into the artwork. As you can see here, I'd already made the canvas up. I'd kind of butterflied out the 3 walls of the library just to like flatten it out and kind of get the dimensions right. And then the yellow lines in the background, I'm thinking they're going to be different panels. When this is finished, it's going to be printed on big vinyl stickers and installed. So I was thinking they kind of make sense, just big rectangular sections. So here, just drawing the books in the book tree. It's about now when I'm realizing that the initial line work that I did for the tree is probably going to be a little bit too thick. I wanted it to be bold and graphic, but also need it to be thin enough that I can get the details in. And when I'm penning in these pages, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to go back and redraw the tree. And I've cheated a little bit here. I just drew like 3 or 4 books, small books, and then I've copied and pasted them out. You can see I'm doing the same thing here just to add them to the ones that have fallen off the tree. But it kind of keeps it consistent. I guess that's the pro of digital artwork and this sort of workflow. So yeah, lots of pages and little details going into this one. We went back and forth over the design. You can see the sort of colourful, like there, it's aqua green and yellow sort of shoot. That was like the sort of magic texture. And on some of the initial designs I'd done, I'd introduced kind of a bookworm character. He was there a couple of times, chilling on the stack of books and just hanging out in the library. And there was some sketches where I'd really filled the background in with this sort of magic stuff that was throughout the illustration. So that was the main feedback. When I went to them with like the version 1 and the version 2, they were saying the people at the school just want to dial it back and have a little bit more white space on the walls. So I've gone back, changed the sketch a little bit, and then just dialed it back a little bit. So yeah, this is me just rendering the final version of the sketch that got signed off.
Books. One of the other options was I was thinking something to make it future proof. So we were like, we wanted to do something to involve the kids potentially, but we were like, cool, as soon as those kids leave the school, the artwork's kind of irrelevant. I stopped penning in the tree again here. So one of the ideas I had was to do like a collage of all these different books and then kind of make stickers a certain size or shape. Like, so say the final printed artwork, the front covers of the books might be like A5 on the wall in real life. And I was thinking it'd be cool to get kids to like draw their own sticker, whether they illustrate a made up book or they draw their favorite book cover, and maybe like stick their stickers up on the wall. And then each year new kids could stick stickers over the top, but we ended up just going for this illustration instead. I think it's probably an easier approach, but maybe there's an idea there, something like that down the line for somewhere. Might make sense. This part of the illustration is going to sit behind a chair. So in the initial photographs that I got sent over of the space, there was a chair in the way. So I kind of wanted just something simple, no kind of key element of the illustration, just naturally the bottom of the tree with a little bit of foliage. This is one thing, normally if I was in the UK, I could just go do a site visit, take measurements, take photos and whatever. So this has been, I wouldn't say it's been a challenge working remote on this, but it's been fun, it's been interesting, it's been different. Just kind of working with the measurements that I've got and kind of manipulating the photos that were sent over so they were flat and workable. Yeah, the plan is once this is done, these separate panels that are just on like the greyed out background, like I said, they're just going to be rectangle stickers, and I figured if I just draw right up to the edge onto the skirting board, just slightly onto the roof, then if the illustration just needs cropping in slightly, there's no problem, there's a bit of bleed there. This one it was quite nice working through this, because although it was a huge illustration and there was a lot of detail, here's the magic going in. The fun thing was the sketch was already done, so it really was just tracing, making sure the line art's really nice. I put the magic onto a new layer and then just erase little bits of the illustration that are cutting through it. Here I'm starting to add the shadow layer. One thing that I thought whilst I was doing this was this would be a cool, because of the scale of the illustration, you know, it's literally going up to the ceiling. I thought it might be good to do 2 shadow layers rather than just the one that I might do for kind of normal digital stuff. I thought it'd add a little bit more detail and just make it look a bit more painterly. So the way I did it was I finished the first shadow layer, a little bit of leaf texture going in here. Once this layer's finished, I'd copied the layer, turned both the layers down. So say now this is probably at 30% opacity. I'd turn both layers down to 15 and then draw on one layer. I'll go and draw the kind of second shadow layer, so they're laying over the top of each other. There's not bits where they're bleeding and, you know, one part is got both of the shadows over the top of it and it's too dark. So yeah, I whizzed through and put another layer of the shadow in. But I like how this is shaping up now. It's starting to look a bit more 3D, a bit more fleshed out. I think this is where I'm duplicating the layer. Yeah, so you can see here. So it doesn't matter here, I can be heavy-handed. If I draw back over the place where I've already drew the shadow, it's not going to change anything because that part on this layer is already inked in. It's just been turned down 15%. So you can build them up next to each other and just have kind of 2 layers of shadow. It was nice for the underside of the tree. And the spines of the books right in the middle of the books. Draw. Days turn to night, you can see. I've only just noticed looking at it, it's now the sun had gone down. When I first sat down, I sat between 2 umbrellas outside and annoyingly the sun was coming through the crack in the 2 umbrellas and it was right on the iPad. So hopefully it wasn't too bad, the glare at the start of this time lapse. But yeah, we're into the night now. So by now the Zocalo was popping. There was like live music at the 2 restaurants to the side of me. There was some kind of light show, like a projection sort of video thing being shown with a bunch of people gathered round. There's like little dudes doing magic and selling, you know, little toys for kids and balloons and stuff like that. It seemed like a family spot, like people just roll there in the evening with the whole family, take the pushchair, stretch the legs, whatever, get an ice cream. So it was a good vibe. Here I'm just working with the text. So I kind of wanted this to be hand-drawn, hand-rendered. I wanted it to look kind of like handwriting, but just a little bit thicker. So here I was trying to just sketch it really normally and like a really loose freehand. I'm not sure if this is the version that stays in the final artwork. I think I chop and change bits of it. So where bits of it thicken up and kind of the counters, the little circles in the G and the A are not looking quite right. This is where I think I changed so we're resizing a little bit. And my battery died. So this is me back at the crib later that night and working, just picking up exactly where I left off. So changing the artboard a little bit, just with a fresh eye. I thought I'd invert it so the black spaces are where it's going to be cut off, and the white space is what's in the background. I've got to colour the artwork soon, so I kind of got that in mind. I thought finalise this text. There, I've just, on the right of the frame, I've just got a t-shirt. My arm was catching on the glass table, so a little t-shirt under the arm, there's a trick. Working on the text, same thing, isolating different letters and just resizing it a little bit. It's the beauty of Procreate. And then adding in some other elements, some magic. And here we go with the colouring. I don't think this will take too long. A lot of the time spent on this was the line work. I'm trying to use a consistent palette here, so the books throughout the illustration are a similar sort of colour. Hand drawing in some of the bits in the background where they're just going to be hard to fill in with the colour drop. Yeah, I'm using Procreate here. That's the software. I'm going to shout it out once again. Procreate is for iPad. I'm using a second generation Apple Pencil. Annoyingly dropped it whilst I was working on this, and the nib is slightly bent, so I need to put a new one on when I get home. And the iPad I'm using is a what is it? It's a 12.9 inch 5th generation iPad Pro. It's my baby. I've had it about 3 or 4 years now, and just love working with it. It still runs really quick. It's such a pleasure to use. Yeah, adding into the pages here. Keep catching little bits that I've missed. I'm just double checking it against the first illustration. Starting to fill in the magic here. It's kind of thinking, so one side was like purples and pinks and yellows, and the other side's this aqua blue with a little green in it, turquoisey sort of colour. It was handy because I could just colour drop from the first illustration. So with that sketch, it was a nice fleshed out sketch. So it was easy just dropping the colour into it. I can't wait to see this printed. I'm thinking I'll post pictures to Instagram, but once they've had it installed, it's going to be really cool to see the pictures. Maybe, you know, with the room just fully alive. Here, just adding in some kind of text to the inside pages of the book. Blitzing through. Speed run. More little magic dusted in the background. So this is going to be over a white wall. Here I was adding in a little bit of kind of electricity coming off the trunk of the tree and playing around with the blend mode just to give it a little bit of luminescence. Here's the final artwork. So yeah, that's it. I might remove the lightning from the tree because I was just feeling that and just having some fun. It's on a separate layer, so it's easy to take out, and it wasn't in the initial sketch. But yeah, and you can see kind of how the bottom of these stacks of books just bleed into behind the shelf, so they're going to be cut off there, there's no problem. The magic of reading. Something different, not character-based, but fun to work on. That's kind of why I like this commission work. Different stuff. Hopefully they're happy chappies.
Alright, so my battery died. It didn't last long. Usually it lasts ages, but I guess I was sat outside. It was hot when I first sat down. So I got a good few hours in. Then, yeah, it died. So I think by the time I'm talking to you now, you're gonna have seen me finish what I was doing either later or tomorrow back at the crib. But yeah, so I'm back out into Puebla. And it's a vibe, like where I was sat in the Zocalo in the little center, there's a little kind of grassy square with like live music and stuff, and it was really starting to go off by the time I left. Like a lot of places here seem to have live entertainment. If you wanted to go see some live music, it's absolutely everywhere, which is pretty cool. I think the few times when I've been to Puebla in the night, I've usually had a ticket for something, so I've either been going to like a Lucha Libre or to the football stadium or something like that. So I'm out to eat now. I'm not mega starving, so I'm having a little Google. I'm not feeling inspired, so I thought maybe I'll stretch my legs, go for a little look around and see what grabs me. We'll see what we're in the mood for. Okay, Tacos Del Rey. What a little spot this was, just literally a little hole in the wall. It was one where when I first got to Puebla, I'd put a pin, saved them on Google, just thought, yeah, I'm going to hit that, and it lived up to it. It was really good.
2 steak, 2 chorizo. Didn't want to go too crazy. Like I said, I wasn't absolutely starving, but glad I got to hit this place. I think I'll try go back before I leave. Little splash of the guac. I'm not a mad guacamole guy back home, but here it's just fresh and green and beautiful. Look at this photography. Oh my god, Gordon Ramsay show. Here just showing you what we're working with. Stacked up, double wrapped, bang, down it goes. Dealing with a professional now. Getting to work on the coke. I remember the chili was killing me. Somehow a chili fleck had got up my nose and it was really itching me. You can see here I'm struggling. This little steak number going down. Colours, beautiful stuff. I remember looking at this clip back and I'm thinking like a time lapse at night with a motion blur looks kind of manic. Looks like a man on the edge. Yeah, both tacos whacked. Good stuff.
Okay, so I ate the tacos. Tacos were good. Ended up talking to this mother and her son just about like being in Mexico and how I'm finding it and whatever. They were really nice. So it was a good one. Ended up walking about half an hour out the way as well. So I'm in the middle of nowhere, just in the middle of some neighborhood. I'm going to book an Uber in just a mo, get back to the crib. But yeah, I just want to say thanks to anyone that tuned in, whether it's someone who I know and I've posted this out and you've clicked it, wicked. If it's someone who I don't know and you're just looking for something, maybe search Puebla or Procreate or something and this video come up, then big up you. I'm glad you found your way here and I'm glad you're still locked in. I want to shout out my socials just as ever. So Instagram is @SamGrubArt. That's the place where I'll post most of my project work. Pretty much everything I'm working on, kind of these sort of things will end up there eventually. My portfolio site, if you want to see a little bit more kind of broader stuff that I can do, projects that are not necessarily just illustrative, some design pieces and stuff for garments and things like that. My portfolio website is samgrub.co.uk, so you can jump on there and check out some different stuff. And then finally, I think I'm just going to shout this out on every video. I want to try and make it happen and kind of will it into reality where, like with these videos, I don't think I'm going to turn into Mr. Beast overnight. Like we don't need more YouTubers. That's not how this thing's going to work. I'm thinking what would be really cool if people see these videos and think, yeah, I like the art style. I'm opening a hot sauce brand with my friend and we need a label designing. And I want to link up with people all over the world. So even if you're in flipping Russia and you're launching the best hot sauce in Russia, then get in touch. The email address is contactdrawingandexploring@gmail.com. It'd be good to just hear from someone tuning into the video. If someone locks on and finds this, whether it's 10 years in the future or whatever, I think it'd be pretty cool to find a client and a project through a YouTube video. That's my plan. So yeah, like I said, if you want to get in touch, if you've got anything illustrative or design that you want to work on, and you think I might be the man for the project, give me a shout. The email address is contactdrawingandexploring@gmail.com. Yeah, so like I said, big up anyone who watched. That's a day in Puebla done. I'm going to get back. Like I said, you've probably already seen the finished artwork, but that's what I'm going to be doing when I get back home. For now, I'm going to book this Uber and I will see you next time for another episode of Drawing and Exploring.